Hello, I'm Deborah Wood. I'll be your instructor for health, safety, and nutrition for young children. I wanted to take you on a quick tour of our course together. When you enter Canvas and our course, this is the home screen that you will see. And on the left-hand side, this is the Canvas menu. And I want to point out courses will give you a listing of all of the courses that you're enrolled in. And then the Canvas inbox is our preferred method of communication. This will send me a message in Canvas and I can communicate with you as well. It's preferred to direct email only because the communications are then archived with the course. So if you're in Canvas, please send me a message this way. If you don't have access to Canvas, you can email me directly. And if you find during the course that you'd like to have a face-to-face meeting, due to the pandemic, we are doing all meetings via Zoom, but I'll be happy to schedule something that at a time that's convenient for you. This next menu is the course menu for our health, safety, and nutrition course. And then course information will be displayed in this middle area. And then to the right is a listing of upcoming assignments. So for this quick video, I'm just going to go over a couple of the things from the course menu. The syllabus tab will give you a link to the syllabus and calendar that were emailed to you. There will be an announcement each week. So please do check that each week for any updates. What we're going to look at today is the modules. And there are weekly modules along with an orientation module. So what I'd like you to do is to start with the introduction and welcome video. That's this video. And then take a quick orientation quiz. And then you can get started on the information for the week. And you'll notice that there is one module for each week. And if you look, you can see that each module will unlock on the Sunday of the week. Our course weeks do go from Monday to Monday. I expect you to start working on for the new week on Monday, and then everything is due by the following Monday. But I do open the module a little bit early for anyone who needs extra time. And I want to point out at the very end of the modules, these are links to our text online. We're going to talk about all the different ways that you can access the textbook. But if you scroll to the bottom, you can see section 1 of the textbook, section 2, 3 and 4, and the appendices are all here for you. That's just one of the ways that you can access our text. So what I'd like you to do after you've finished the orientation module in week 1, and then each week, is to get into the habit of stepping through the weekly module. And there will always be an introduction and then objectives for the week. And then there will be introductory videos. And I want to point out there is an active viewing guide. And what this is a way for you to take notes. It is offered in rich text format, which is a universal format that you can edit in any text or word processing program. If you're using Google Docs, you'll want to upload it first and then edit it. But you can just watch the short videos and take notes as you go. You will want the notes for the weekly quizzes, or the unit quizzes, which is the first unit is the first 3 weeks. And then, as I mentioned, there are several ways to access our Open Educational Resource textbook. And the first is you can open the entire textbook, and then just this week, for week 1, we're just reading chapters 1 and 2. I do have each of the chapters individually available as PDFs, along with any appendices that are referenced in the chapter, so you could just click on them here. And then if you're going to read online, you might want to link to the LibreText version because there's no page breaks in that, and it makes it easier to read online. And then as was mentioned in the syllabus, there's also the option for you to order a print copy of it, which, because I'm an old person, I did, and I'm quite happy with it. So there are various ways for you to access the textbook. I ask that you play around with it a little bit this first week, pick the way that's easiest for you, and then stick with that as you go through the course. Each week there will be a discussion, and so what you'll do is respond to the different prompts. And to respond, you'll hit the reply button here. Once you've replied to the discussion, you will be able to see the responses of your classmates. Because discussions require back and forth, you do need to make your first post in the discussion by Friday each week, and then you'll respond to 2 classmates by the following Monday. And I ask that you participate on it at least 2 days within the week. If you do miss that Friday deadline, do participate in the discussions. It's better to participate and get partial points than to not participate at all. But the discussions will close after Monday each week, and you cannot participate in the discussions after that. So be mindful of participating in the discussions. And then this week, you'll begin working on a policy letter assignment. And if you click on this document, that gives you all of the instructions. What we'll be doing is watching a video that was prepared by the California Department of Social Services, which is our child care licensing agency, on disaster planning. And the letter you'll be writing is as if you were the director to the parents, giving them a summary of how we would handle a disaster at the center. And so that's your first assignment, which is not due this week, it's due in week 2, but you can get started on it this week. And I want to point out that when you're ready to submit it, you will click on this link to load it in a new window. That will start the process of submitting it to turn it in, which is an authenticity checker. And what you'll want to be sure is that all of the work that you're doing is original for this class. If you've done a similar assignment in a previous class, it is not okay to reuse or recycle another assignment or use part of a friend's assignment. You need to be doing all original work for this class, and that is what the Turnitin checker will verify. And then finally, each week, there will be a checklist for you to go through and make sure that you have done everything for the week. I want to just point out the discussions menu item. There is a student lounge discussion, and I consider this kind of our casual Starbucks. You can post information here. You can ask questions about the course. I have posted 2 informational posts already. One is about procedures during COVID in ECE classrooms. The other is some links to Canvas videos that you might find helpful if you're just starting in Canvas. And then you can also connect directly to the discussion here. And the last thing I want to point out, there's menu items for assignments and quizzes, but I want to point out the grades menu item. And this will allow you to see the grades as you go along. And in this case, this is the test student who has participated in the discussion and done the orientation quiz. You can see the scores. And then this area right here are my comments to you. And so I will always provide comments to you on your written assignments. If you have missed any points on an assignment, I provide feedback here on how the assignment was graded. Your total is always here. You can print out your grades as we go along. The last thing I want to point out is this is kind of a breadcrumbs trail at the top. It can be a little bit confusing when you're in the discussions because you will be in smaller groups. So if you want to always find your way back to the home page, you just click on that menu item there and you're back to the home page. Again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to view this video, and I look forward to working with you.